listening to this podcast right now. Do you want to hear a fucking podcast about anything and everything? Yeah. Like movies, music, television, and more?
Oh my God.
Well, you've come to the right place. Yes. Subscribe to Journey into Comics Network, and you get Podcastrophe, hosted by me, Dick. Why not throw a couple bucks to the Patreon? It's your choice. Yeah. This is a Podcastrophe.
That sounds so awesome.
The following
is a Journey into Comics.
Journey into Comics.
It's a Journey into Comics.
Journey into Comics.
Journey into Comics.
Network.
Production.
This is a tasty burger.
You ever tried shawarma? There's a shawarma joint about 2 blocks from here. I don't know what it is, but I want to try it.
Do you want some coffee, Mr. Tully?
Do I?
Yes, have some.
Yes, have some.
Is butter a carb? Will you stop eating?
We elves try to stick to the 4 main food groups. Candy, candy canes, candy corns, and syrup.
I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 20, season 3 of Foodies Watching Movies. I am your host, Verotika. With me, as always, my co-hosts, Nate and Sara. How's it going, guys?
It's me.
What's up, dudes? How's it going, everybody? We're back.
We're back, yeah. It's been a while.
We took like a weird week off because life got in the way. We were really busy. We had shows. Like, everything just kind of got in the way of doing Foodies. So I actually pulled an episode out of the vault that never made it onto the, official podcast feed. Mm-hmm. It only ever aired on YouTube, but it was episode technically 2. It was really 3 because we had done the cows episode, the Twister episode, first one.
That was our first one.
But this episode was with Brando. We were talking about Batman.
Which I want to say is really interesting that that's the episode you decided to release because it was the anniversary of 89 Batman.
I'm always on the pulse, man. I don't know how.
You did it.
Yeah. I was like a week early, but it was like right within the time frame. It's really cool.
It was in the time frame because it was just a couple of days ago, the release of 89 Batman.
That's what I'm
asking you.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. I thought you were informing me.
You're not even listening to me.
No, I was listening. I thought you were informing me. I didn't think you were asking.
No, I was asking you.
Yes, it's the 30th anniversary since 89 Batman. I think it was June.
It was over this past weekend.
19th or something like that. 20th. Maybe it was the 21st.
We posted it on our Foodies Watching Movies Facebook page, which you should all check out, by the way.
Nice plug. Look at you.
Well,
certified gangstar.
Anyway, so what were we talking about? Oh yeah, you were talking about you pulled out an episode from the vault because we were unavailable.
So it's good to finally be back is kind of what I'm saying. It's nice.
We've had a ton of food adventures and a lot of movie adventures since we've last recorded an episode. Did you want to get right into that?
Yeah, I think so, right? I mean, this is Foodies Watching Movies.
You have the agenda over there.
Well, it's actually you guys getting into it because you guys are watching some shit. I don't get down on Stephen King like that. I'm just being real.
I don't know if we do either. It's
undecided. I don't know. This is like a project. This is like an experiment, guys.
So what are you watching?
A project. What is this? The TV miniseries?
The Stand.
The Stand. Yeah.
The 1994.
Yeah,
TV
but
miniseries.
It does not strike me as 94. There's some hardcore,
there's
it's like
more mullets than I can
88
count.
through 94. But I guess small towns, they're always 10 years plus behind,
I'm enjoying this because of its Twin Peaks-ness.
It really is. The long scenes.
The very David Lynch long cuts.
Yeah, the lingering emotional encounters that we didn't ask for.
Yeah, well, this is a 5-part miniseries that we've been watching, and I definitely don't think we needed to see parts 1 through 3.
No, they're not. They don't feel connected, but maybe in some rousing ending because we have not watched part 4.
No, we have not. We have not watched the final part, The Stand.
No, and Nate expressed interest. Don't let him fool you. he expressed interest in wanting to watch them.
He's like, oh, maybe I should watch it.
He could understand.
Scientific purposes, folks. Trying to...
I don't think you're going to like it, though.
It's
well, truth be told, when I walked in here last night after the things I was up to, I came in here, I thought you guys were watching Twin Peaks at first. I was like, they're watching Twin Peaks, but I don't recognize any of the shit going on to the characters or anything. This is strange.
Rob Lowe was in Twin Peaks? He was
yeah.
a deaf mute?
Oh, yeah, deaf mute Rob Lowe.
That's definitely the best part of The Stand is watching Rob Lowe act as a deaf mute.
Man, it's becoming one of my favorite Rob Lowe's. If you want to
I
know.
It was so sweet. He's very sweet in this movie. Very expressive and emotive with his face.
And I just kept, like, in my mind, like, flip-flopping this Rob Lowe with Wayne's World Rob Lowe.
Ooh.
It was like...
Oh.
For me, I've been flip-flopping that Rob Lowe, this Rob Lowe, The Stand Rob Lowe versus Californication Rob Lowe.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you've seen that version of Rob Lowe, but it was pretty gross. It's pretty hardcore.
Well said.
Yeah, I didn't really watch that show very much.
Oh my god, I loved that show.
I didn't watch that one.
That was one of my favorites because I love David Duchovny.
Yeah,
yes, you do. Yes, you do indeed.
It's common knowledge. David Duchovny.
That was worth the whole Twin Peaks watch for you.
Oh my god, that was just the best. That was the best.
The first time
David
that
Duchovny
I
in Twin
rewatched
Peaks.
that after my childhood, like this is another one. The Stand. I was going to talk about that. I'm glad I thought about it again. The Stand, as we've been watching it, I keep having like flashbacks to when I was a kid because my mom watched that stuff. Like she watched all of those the spooky miniseries like that. And,
right. She watched Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks, yeah, she watched that, and she watched...
I wonder if she watched Asteroid. Do you remember Asteroid? Came out in 96. It was an NBC miniseries, 2 parts.
No,
vaguely.
It was
I don't remember that.
Asteroids are going to hit Earth, extinction level event. Like, it actually was pretty gruesome. And the only reason I remember that movie, first time I ever had a migraine in my life.
Damn.
Oh,
and it just sticks in there, because I really wanted to watch that. My migraine impeded that.
She probably saw that one.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I don't remember the titles of them. You just remember like weird scenery from it. That's how it was for Twin Peaks. I would remember the Black Lodge scenes from like my childhood because it was super creepy to me.
Right.
Like, and anything with Bob. I remember being super freaked out by Bob when I was a kid.
Yeah, that's some scary shit.
But
for daytime TV or nighttime TV.
Yeah. I remember this because I remember the I don't know what role she's playing just yet because we haven't watched the end of it, but the old woman that's out in the cornfield, playing
Mother
the guitar.
Abigail.
Yeah, Mother Abigail. I remember her and being like really weirded out by that because I was a church kid and this is all like churchy stuff, like the devil's in it. And we can't figure out
The
what
devil
that
has a
actor's
righteous
from.
mullet. I did figure it out.
Oh,
remember?
you did? Yeah,
He's
you
from.
Googled it.
I had to Google him because I was like thinking maybe he was from The Flash. I thought he was maybe Jay Garrick from The Flash, but it was not. It was Oliver Queen's dad on Arrow.
Yeah,
he played the devil in The Stand.
Interesting.
And he's like, he's been in a ton of movies, like just like one of those rando characters. You're like, oh, that guy from that movie.
He's so familiar, and you try to put your finger on it.
Now I know.
Yeah, but he was. He's the devil. So yeah, I remember when I was a kid that being like really scary to me, and the whole vision thing, and like just the Stephen Kingness of it, like the dead bodies that are just like, they just come to life, But now I'm just like, just watching it. But our talk will have to be, I guess, suspended until another podcast until we finish it.
We will conclude our thoughts on The Stand once we've concluded The Stand. It's taken us a while to get through it because we've been so busy.
Bad so far.
It's been really shitty. I mean, I gotta say, Gary
so
Sinise is in it. Molly Ringwald is in it.
Oh, she bugs.
She bugs so hard in this movie.
She bugs in this one. She doesn't bug for me in other movies.
No,
she really bugs.
It's because
in
this is just like a bad teleplay.
Yeah.
This is like
it's
out of her
teleplay.
prime Molly Ringwald, though. Like after the
this isn't 1988 Molly Ringwald.
No.
This
90s.
is 1994, 95 Molly Ringwald.
Okay.
With very, very thin black eyebrows and a very small black bob haircut.
Weird.
Like she's borderline like goth in this movie, but she's like all wholesome and kind of hoary.
Yeah. Everybody's kind of a scumbag.
I mean, and the story, like, it just jumps around so hard. Like, it's so... We put on part 3, and I was like, did we fucking miss, like, part 2.5 or something? Because I have no idea what's going on.
They're like... And there's no, like, recap. There's no...
Some 90s shit.
Yeah, there's no segues. It's just, here's these characters.
Clearly, it seemed like there was no budget, but there was.
So it pretty much is demanding you watch it in one 5-hour sitting so you remember everything is kind of what you're getting at?
Well, that's not how it aired, though.
No, it aired over a 4-week period.
Yeah, like a whole month. Mm-hmm. So it's like once a week that you would watch it. But like from week to week, this was... obviously in the days when you had to remember everything. So
there was no previously on the stand.
Yeah, they didn't do any sort of recap, and then they just drop you in the middle of these characters that all of a sudden they'll just be making out in the woods, and you're like, oh, well, we're supposed to care about this now. And then all of a sudden, like, characters from one part of the world and a different part of the world will just, like, hook up, and all of a sudden they're, like, on the same journey together.
You know why it is?
Why?
I know why. Because Stephen King adapted the teleplay for this miniseries from his book, and The Stand is a very, very long book.
Yes, it is.
Because there's so many characters, and Stephen King didn't want to cut anything that he deemed important. So all these random fucking characters
are the important parts of the story.
Right, but you only have like 4
less
parts.
Than 6 hours to
you
tell.
have 5 hours and 54 minutes to tell this whole massive fucking book, and he just was not willing to cut any of the characters. Allegedly, I haven't read The Stand. Now I kind of want to, but
I heard it was very good.
My mom has a copy of it.
I mean, I remember back in the day people reading it and telling me it was very good.
And I think that's what the big problem was, because another Stephen King miniseries, The Shining, suffered from the same problem.
That one was bad. I never wanted to watch it.
Oh, it was just terrible. It was so long. Yeah. Like, I watched it because I had to for myself. I loved the book, The Shining. I loved Stanley Kubrick's version of, like, his adaptation of it.
Which is totally different.
Which is totally different from the book.
Yep.
But this Stephen King miniseries that I watched, The Shining, it was just terrible, but it was very, very faithful to the book, which is what he wanted it to be. So he's just like, I love Stephen King as an author. I love his shitty movies. I love the B movie theater, like the quality of it. Yeah. But that's what they are. They're never going to be like, they're never going to be really good.
Well, and that's him, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's just what he wanted.
It just has that level of, I don't want to say cheesiness to it, but it's got that level of cheese,
But Stephen King is kind of one of those pioneers that adapted his work from one medium to the next. And, that's becoming more of an art form now, being able to think like you said, he doesn't find certain characters not important because they're all important to him.
Right, so he's trying to jam-pack it all into one tiny little mini-series, and it's so convoluted, like they have to do so many jump cuts and quick cuts. It's just like, okay, where are we? Okay, who are these people? They don't even say some of these people's names, and then you're supposed to be sad when they get blown up or whatever,
Right,
it's ridiculous.
I'm almost wondering if he made this series so that, like for readers, people who had already read the book. Like, he just assumed that people read the book.
Right.
So that he didn't have to fill in any of the gaps.
Right.
Like, it was almost just like just a vignette of the characters or something. I don't know. It's just the pacing
was
is
like
strange.
a really weird play, like with Mother Abigail's bizarre, like, monologues where she's talking to God. Like, I could just see it how it was written in the book. And it's like, okay, they're literally just like...
Yeah,
it was a bad play, but I'm enjoying the hell out of it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, we love that.
I'm all about that.
I mean, community theater.
Yeah, I'm a theater kid at heart,
So it doesn't matter if it's cheesy, if it has good heart, you're into it.
Well, yeah, because it doesn't have to be super serious. It could be like super serious about its silliness. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It takes its silliness seriously.
Ooh, I like that.
That's like a whole different genre of horror, where it's slightly tongue-in-cheek, but you don't know if it's supposed to be tongue-in-cheek. But you just kind of go with it because that's what's presented to you.
Yeah, well, it's like that with any movies that are just underground movies, I guess. People's efforts that are not Hollywood. Hollywood really ruins it for people that make movies from the ground up, I think.
Right.
I really do, because it's not that they're setting a standard, it's that they're setting some sort of precedent. They're saying this is how you're supposed to make a movie, and all other movies are stupid. All other ways of doing it is,
right.
lesser than or whatever.
Because money
but
talks.
When you think about it, I mean, what's the way that most people consume stories? They go to see the Hollywood stuff, but a lot of people, if they're going to try to make a story themselves or tell it, it's going to be community theater style. There's a reason that's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's because most people, like, when they're telling a story, like I'm thinking about the Stephen King thing now, and how disjointed it is. Like, if somebody's telling you a story about something, sometimes it's like that. Oh, then this guy came over here, and then we did this over here, and then this happened, and blah, blah, blah. And somehow you find continuity in that. And that's why it's an art form.
It's art instead of just a Hollywood production, a formula of, having it to be blended all perfectly.
Right. You can always have a formula because formulas work.
Right.
That's the reason that they're a formula, but you're going to get the same thing every time. That's where the product thing comes in.
Every superhero movie has its little plot.
Where you start to get the sense, I've heard this before,
Mm-hmm.
same old song and dance,
Right.
But that's why I like movies that are made by people that are trying to do things their own way. Because then you get things that are truly different. And yeah, it seems weird at first. Like, okay, David Lynch, still weird. Even, since the 80s, weird. But the dude has his own way of telling a story. And if you just kind of go with it, it becomes its own thing. That's art. You just go with it.
Right.
You go with it, and it either you like it or you don't. But it's irrelevant whether you like it or not. It's just, it is. It's art.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking at the brush strokes differently.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get into an artist based on how they paint, and you look at a director, and they direct in a certain way that you connect to, and you guys really connect to David Lynch. He maybe not necessarily my cup of tea, but in a weird way you guys like him because of the bizarreness.
It's an appreciation.
Yes, exactly.
It's
an understanding.
It's
like, I see you, guy.
Yeah, and you listen to interviews with David Lynch, and you hear him talk about his art and his movies.
Transcendental meditation.
Right. And you see that this man and his movies are one. The way that he is.
Right.
Like,
kind of like John Waters and Quentin Tarantino.
Yes.
And they are their art.
And that's why it's successful. It doesn't matter if it's bad or not. Bad and good is irrelevant. It's that whether it's successful as art or not, That's why you can go to the Contemporary Art Museum and you can see a blank canvas with a few flecks of paint on it, and somebody will pay thousands and thousands of dollars for it.
Right.
It's the intention, and it's, a lot of times it's about the artist and not even about the piece. It's like one and the same.
People will be like, oh, a 5-year-old could have made that, and then we'll be like, well, a 5-year-old didn't make it. This artist made it, and that's why it's art.
Yeah, right.
It's,
yeah.
That's like a perfect segue into a pretty cool story we have experienced recently.
We got to do something that, as Foodies Watching Movies, was really cool, because we got to kind of go out and go to a movie premiere that wasn't typical. It wasn't like going to a Thursday night Avengers movie or something.
We
where
don't
it was
live
just
in Hollywood.
Correct.
We don't get to go. We live by Chicago.
Yep.
Yeah, we don't get to do these kind of things.
It was exciting for us.
So we got to actually witness the world premiere of Glenn Danzig's movie Verotika.
Mm-hmm.
And that's based on a comic book, so it's kind of cool because it's like this crossover of Journey into Comics as well that got to experience it, and the medium and whatnot. And I tell you, to really piggyback off of where you were segueing, Glenn Danzig is unapologetically his art.
Yeah. That's what I love about him. That's what I've always loved.
Without question, seeing this movie and his vision, he knows what he wants. He goes for it. He puts it out in front of himself, and he says, I don't give a fuck if you don't think it's good or don't like it or don't understand it. There are people who are going to, and that's the point. There are people that are going to connect to it, and that's the point.
Right.
And all you want as a director or as a filmmaker or as any kind of medium of an artist is a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And being at that premiere, there was quite a positive, in my opinion, reaction to this movie.
Well, yeah. What I thought was cool was that he was, it was at Cinepocalypse at the Music Box Theater in Chicago. and it was the premiere of Verotika, and he was up in the balcony watching everybody's reactions throughout the movie, and then he did a Q&A at the end with one of the hosts from the event.
Josh Goldblum, I think is
I
his
think
name.
it was the person who founded the event.
Yes, Josh
I want to say that
Goldblum.
he created the Cinepocalypse event. Yeah. But
yeah, I liked that. After the movie aired, he did the Q&A, and he was like, "Yeah, well, you guys laughed at some parts that I didn't really think you were going to laugh at. You guys are pretty fucked up."
Yeah.
You guys are pretty fucked up or something like that.
Yeah, sometimes things don't come off as you intend, and he's a first-time filmmaker. You know, this is his first effort at making a film and doing the music and the directing and producing and all this. I mean, he had a team of people helping him. But,
right, and he's been going through this for years doing like music videos, you know.
Yeah, he's his own creative director, and that's what people appreciate about him, you know,
right. So it doesn't matter. I've had so many people ask me, "Was it any good? Was it good? Was it good?" And I'm just like, I had a fucking blast. I had a great time. You know, like,
and
for me, that's what it was about.
Anybody that likes that kind of horror that has practical effects, that old school thing, you know,
it was super like zero budget.
Yeah, you're gonna love it. It has that thing going on, you know, that everybody remembers the whole what was it, Dead Alive, Peter Jackson's first effort, right? Wasn't that his very first movie?
It was his first movie.
Yeah. And it has the whole practical effects thing. I mean, the rat monkey, my God, that was one of my favorite things. Like, yeah. But this Verotika film had that whole thing going on. And, you know, some of the laughs he did admit were not intended because of they didn't finish editing some parts of it.
Right.
There were some editing,
and they were late bringing it there because they were still working on some glitches and stuff.
And that's
that's DIY film. Punk, man.
Yes.
Do it yourself. That's what I appreciate about it so much is the do it yourself mentality.
Right. And
because then it's yours.
Yes. Yeah, and going back to what I think Nate said about translating medium, you know, from one medium to the next. You know, like when we were talking about Stephen King with the book into the movie, you know, or comic books into movies, you know, there really is an art to that. It's a different medium. You know, when you're conceptualizing for a comic, you may or may not be conceptualizing something that would translate to a different medium like film. You know, because film is moving, it's in real time. It paces itself differently because each reader, when you're doing a comic book, the pacing is at the reader's own pace. You know, you have to set the pace in a film.
Right.
So it's a totally different thing when you're translating from one to the next, and that's why it's impressive to me when somebody like Glenn Danzig says, "No, I'm going to do this all myself. I'm going to try to do this." And it did, to me, when I was watching it, it did feel like a comic book that had like you took the comic book and it was like storyboarded, you know.
Right.
It felt
like it was filmed storyboarded.
Yeah, like it felt like it was, if I imagined what a comic book storyboard would be like, you know, just pastiched onto the film. That's kind of how it felt in terms of pacing.
And a lot of people said that, you know, if you are a fan of the comic books, and you're going to really appreciate this movie because it's taking, you know, stories directly from Verotika.
Yeah, and they're like just strange little
horror vignettes,
you know.
There were 3, yeah.
Yeah, just like
there's some goofy shit in there, but
yeah, it starts off with a bang.
There's some choice acting and lots of titties and it was
great musical score. Everybody,
there's some Danzig music in there.
I mean, you know, he did the whole thing, you know, all the music, and there's some if you're fans of his more classical efforts like Black Aria and all of that stuff. His which I believe he was honing. It's those albums sound to me like he was honing his film music side. You know, they're very atmospheric and fits well for movie scores.
Right.
I particularly pay attention to where he uses the piano, and that's just me. Like, I always pay attention to the piano whenever it always speaks to me in any movie score. But
well, yeah, because you're a piano player.
yeah, he uses it very effectively. And this kind of segues into our story of After, if we want to talk about that. But we were standing around mingling with some fans afterwards, and we were blessed that Glenn Danzig came out and met with the handful of fans that we were standing there talking about the movie and stuff. It was wonderful. We got to shake his hand. I've been wanting to do that for a very long time. But I got to speak with him very briefly, albeit, because, everybody was getting things signed and all of that. I didn't even think about that. Like, we were just going to the movie premiere.
Yeah, we don't have anything for you to sign, but I was like, I don't have anything to sign. I just really wanted to say hi.
Yeah. And I did. I just wanted to shake his hand, but a reason I'm even bringing it up is I'm always trying to talk to musicians about music, even if in the brief moments I can have meeting somebody. But I told him where in the movie that I enjoyed hearing the piano. I don't want to say anything because anybody out there that should, if you're listening to this and you're a fan of anything horror related at all, you have to see this movie. You have to.
Yeah.
Like, you have to. I mean, if I were to watch this not at a movie premiere, if somebody just brought it like to my house, bootleg or otherwise, don't support bootlegs.
But you're hooked.
Don't support bootlegs. But anyhow, if I saw this by any means, I'd tell people to go see this.
Yeah, totally.
I would suggest it because it's too much fun as
a
horror
really
fan.
Fun.
But anyhow, I was complimenting him on the use of the piano in a particular scene that I liked, and he told me that he used extended techniques that like reached inside the piano and was dragging across the strings for certain parts of it, and creating acoustic effects with the piano, which is good. That's a more creative way to use the piano rather than just sitting there, digital keyboards or whatever. They don't create the same effects. I appreciated that because he used practical effects in his movie.
Right.
So to hear that he used
a real piano,
I'm going to call it a practical effect for the piano. Any time you're using actual strings when it comes to the piano, that I would consider some sort of effect. It fit nicely.
Totally.
And the score was not. He didn't overscore it in any places. I thought it was like the parts. I mean, there were parts that was just songs.
Yeah, the stripper scene.
And you know what?
Was dancing
some
and
of
dancing.
those songs, he said, were not him doing them. They found music they wanted to use but couldn't, so then they found somebody to do something like what they were looking for.
Yeah, which is it's a common way to approach it. I mean, that's how we have John Williams.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Steals from Holtz.
Yeah. Make
Well,
something
borrows.
like Gustav Holst, The Planets. Okay, good. Try not to copy off of it directly.
Right.
We're in business. But that's the short synopsis. You can read all about John Williams on the internet. He's a wonderful man. Wonderful composer. But anyhow, it is. That's how we got a lot of film music, was from that. But song parts aside, I thought that he did an excellent job scoring for it being his first effort, I just think myself going from the angle of composer, having a first effort out there,
Yeah.
And sometimes reactions just aren't what you expect. That's all about, like, for me anyways, like when you're composing something, it's all about control on the paper. Whatever you put on the paper is what the musician is going to do. Mm-hmm. And you can control all these different nuances based on exactly what you put where on the paper and how you put it. And I mean, you can, anyway, I don't want to get into it, but it's the same. I imagine it's the same, like, just on a grander scale with a film, with a movie. You try to control people's reactions to certain things. You intend for certain things to be funny. You intend for certain things to be scary or to be disturbing or to be whatever. And sometimes it can just be like the difference of like 1 second too long on a scene or 1 second too short, or
sometimes it comes down to editing. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that totally take your intention and turn it left for good or for worse.
Exactly.
And I think that's where his comments came from that you were talking about earlier, where he said you guys laughed in places that, I didn't imagine that you would laugh in, that's it's all a difficult journey. I don't think I'd want to make a movie. I think I think I'd be okay just kind of being on the team. I don't know if I'd want to like
helm the whole
thing. Yeah,
every decision rides on you.
I feel like if I was going to make a movie, that would be the position I'd want to be in, though, because I'd want to make sure that everything was executed to my standard.
Yeah.
Whatever standard I said, I don't know, but you know what I mean.
You guys know me that I would end up doing that anyways, but I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to.
I used to love making movies. I took a couple of film classes here and there, like when I was in college, and some film stuff in high school, and I always wanted to make like little short films. I don't know why I never did, but I never did. Maybe someday.
Well, I guess we'll have to have some.
Maybe we need to make some music videos.
Well, I like that you kind of segue back to that, though, because the Verotika movie was 3 short films, 3 separate stories.
Yeah.
And you know what? I liked that they had like similar horror tone, but they were also unique. Different mindset, different time of, like where it was happening in history, as it were, or whatever. Also, it was almost as if, I don't know what the word to say here is, but it was almost as if he was really trying to get the color palettes to pop like comics. Because where there was color, man, like her pink hair, for example, that was the pinkest fucking hair you've ever seen. Go look at the comic cover where that chick is on there with the pink hair. It's bright as shit. Like, he brought it to life. And you're just like, wow, that little attention to detail just really gives your movie this special energy, I think.
Yeah. It was a good one. It was pretty fun. I had a good time.
I can't wait for a new podcast that's debuting on the network here shortly to get their hands on Verotika and talk about it.
Yeah.
Because our buddy Mr. Dave Linder is debuting a new show soon. And it literally is about these kind of movies and talking about them.
Great.
Yeah. That's great.
So I'm not going to say anything further. We're not going to spoil their debut. It's coming soon. But yeah, that's I would see.
Exciting.
I would
we'll have
see
to do
Verotika.
A crossover event.
I'm all about that.
Podcast,
I would
Foodies.
I would see Verotika again like 2 times at least.
Well, they're going to be releasing it on Halloween.
How fitting!
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, they announced the release date was Halloween.
For like
video on demand, DVD, whatever.
Oh, great! I wonder if they're going to do any like special editions.
I doubt it.
I don't know. He's all about special edition stuff, right?
He really is.
I don't know. You have to check out the Seventh House fan page.
Man, I want director's cuts or like commentary.
Extended. Oh, that would be awesome.
You want the extras?
Yeah,
all the goodies.
I want to hear Glenn Danzig talking underneath this movie. I want to hear him talking about
it.
commentating
it.
I want to know what he was thinking about when he was bringing these certain scenes to life off his comics. I want to know. And like scoring it, because like think about that. How many movies out there did somebody do all the stuff for?
Not a lot.
I mean, including the soundtrack. So I mean, he did that. The music part of it. It's like I want to hear that perspective, like what because when you're directing, doing all, I mean, you have control of all these different facets of what's going on. It would just be very interesting. So
I'd watch that.
I'd give it a listen.
Yeah, duh.
But, anybody have any other thoughts about?
I do have a thought about that night because we had a delicious steak dinner.
The segue.
Well, I just want to talk about the steak way, yeah. That was the thing that got us kind of through the premiere because we needed to fuel up.
Yeah.
So I got to work and I made us some delicious steak.
So many times we're out and about in the world doing things and we never get to fucking eat.
All the time. I hate it.
It sucks.
It happens to us all the time. We have a show. Let's make sure we leave to make sure we have enough time to eat before we go. No, we're just going to go straight there and get gas station snacks. So we weren't fucking around that night because we were going to meet Danzig. Like, this is, So Nate made them good steaks.
Man, I did something crazy because my thought was like, I typically make the same kind of steak. Salt, pepper, butter, garlic, lemon, home run, game over. You don't have to do much. And I was like, you know what, though? Like, I'm going to mix it up. Changes.
You're so cocky about your steaks.
It's true. Just saying. Best in the world. But I just wanted this to be like different tonight. I was like, I want to try a different kind of steak. Change is good. So I do salt, pepper, and fresh coffee grounds. Okay, that's it. And then butter. I, sear them, do the basting, do all that shit that I typically do. Get all sides of the meats seared, put them on a pan and baked them. Typically, I don't do that. It got them flawlessly cooked. It was the best cooked steak I've ever made, I think.
The next time you need to make steak, though, you need to do it the exact same way, but use that cast iron skillet.
Yes.
Because then you just keep it in the same pan and put the whole pan in the oven to finish it off in there.
Yeah, and make sure to wear a glove so you don't burn the fuck out of your hand.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
And don't put the glove in the oven.
Correct.
By mistake.
Glove and oven.
Or the towel or whatever you're using.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that would be bad. Yeah. No, so we made that. That was delicious. We've had a lot of good food ventures.
We have. We've been doing better on our food adventures lately. For instance, what we had today was incredible. We haven't even talked about that.
No.
Nate finally decided to try making this creme brulee French toast that I have to make for the restaurant I work at.
And I've seen you make it a couple times, so I'm just like, in my head I kept going, I could do that. I can do that. Like, and I've actually helped partially do that. I've seen some of the process. I haven't seen the whole thing. I've never seen it go into the oven, be baked, and how that process goes. So I'm completely
right, because when
there.
I make it, I'm just prepping it for the cafe, and then it sits overnight, and they use it the next day.
Which you actually told me is a part of the process that was actually necessary. I wish I would have known that. I would have prepped this.
Well, I did tell
last night. No, I'm saying I didn't realize it was such an important part.
Let's not be confused here. I did tell you that it needs to sit overnight, but it would probably be okay, and it was.
Yeah. So you make this creme brulee French toast, and I took 2 sticks of butter, liquefied them down.
Holy shit!
Covered.
I'm gonna have like a fucking heart attack.
Hold on, listen. You'll understand why I did what I did.
Poor arteries.
4 of them.
I ate so much of this fucking shit. I probably ate like a stick and a half of butter today.
Hold on.
My poor little arteries.
Listen. So I had to do the 2 sticks of butter down so that I could get the whole bottom pan covered with butter, because that's how you do it. What you guys use.
We use clarified
butter.
Liquid clarified butter.
Then I put the brown sugar down, and then I cut the bread up nice. Dipped it in its mixture. I'm not going to spoil that because that's like
trade secret.
Giving away the trade secret.
My boss would kill me.
You put the mixture together, and then you put it on the pan, and then you cook it. We cooked it like 20 minutes, but then the brown sugar and the butter crystallize on the bottom of the bread.
Caramelizes the bread.
And oh my fucking God, man.
Yeah, you just put a lot of... Did you put vanilla in it today?
Yes, I did.
You did? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I did add vanilla. Mm-hmm. And I also, when they were sitting right fresh out of the oven, I took the stick of butter we had that was sitting out, and I just did little swipes on each thing so it had a nice level of moisture on the bottom, so that when you flipped it, it stayed nice and not stuck to the plate. Sprinkled a little bit of sea salt.
I tasted the salt. I was tasting that. I was like, he put salt in this.
It was really good, though. I thought it was really good.
It was all right. I liked it. What really set it off, though, was Sarah cut up some fresh strawberries. Because we didn't have fucking syrup. Because
I don't know why. I don't know what happened.
There was no syrup here.
Well,
so confusing.
It was better with the strawberries, I think.
Yeah. But it would have been even better with strawberries and syrup.
This girl gets me.
I need all the different kinds of sugars in one bready breakfast. And I had that. It was great. It was very, very good.
So I have a question. We had this delicious breakfast that was homemade today. Not to pat my own back, that's my own D, but...
Oh, you neglected to mention that we bought French bread.
Oh, yeah, we bought French bread that I cut, and I did a good job cutting the same thickness, I thought, this time.
Yeah.
I figured out a system. I did. It was good. But anyways, my question to you guys is, this is a homemade, delicious breakfast. Does this beat out Saturday morning or Sunday morning's Waffle House breakfast post-show?
It's different.
It was different. That's a totally different beast. That has nothing to do with each other.
Nope.
I'm using it as a
good
segue
attempt to segue, though.
It's breakfast. It's breakfast.
We did have some killer fucking breakfast at the Waffle House.
Oh,
Delicious.
God, it was good.
We were driving home from a show the other night in Muncie, and it was getting on, and we were like, "There's a Waffle House. We have to go to Waffle House. We just have to make it to Waffle House. And we did. And it was great. It was a very Twin Peaks diner-esque experience.
The waffles are worth it at the Waffle House. We ordered a second waffle.
Believe the hype.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why you and I decided not to get waffles. We got everything but waffles, and then we were like, what are we doing? Can we order a waffle?
They saw my waffle, and they were like, oh, we made a mistake. Let's get a waffle.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because Sarah's like, can I have a bite of your waffle? And I was like, no, you need to get your own. Sorry.
And that's
You're going to want your own.
Yeah, that's not typical in the food world for the three of us. We're pretty
Yeah, usually
sharing.
I'll share, but
No, you
no.
ended up giving me a bite. That's how I ended up ordering one. Because I took one bite of it.
Oh,
Yeah, and I was like, I'm just kidding. You can have a bite. I like that their waffle irons have the Waffle House logo imprinted on them. So when you have your waffle, it says Waffle House.
Yeah. And the onions that they use, like I got.
Oh, holy shit.
Yeah, we got our hash browns extra crispy. And let me say this first before I talk about these onions, because the portions are perfect at Waffle House. They don't give you too much. I don't know if anybody else out there it gets annoyed when they give you like I call them like old people portions. When you go to those restaurants that you just get like you ask for 2 eggs and they give you 4 eggs and you're like, I don't ever eat 4 eggs.
Right.
Now I feel like a jerk
Wasteful.
because I can't eat all my food and I don't want it later.
Right.
I just wanted to sit and eat this food.
And then they'll be like, oh, was everything okay? Yeah, it's too much fucking food.
Yeah, I'm one that I don't like to be burdened with leftovers.
Yeah, I don't either.
I get weird about it. I don't like to be wasteful. And I don't like to throw them away, and I'm also really lazy about repurposing them. So I like when
I'm with you.
I really appreciate a meal that's perfectly portioned. Waffle House does that good. But these little onions that were in the hash browns were unbelievable. I don't know what kind of onions
they had
used.
to have been like a sweet Vidalia. It had to have been a sweet Vidalia onion because it was so good. And they were like perfectly tiny, teeny tiny little diced
little
onions.
Tiny cubes. Yeah. Of perfect, delicious, sweet onions in the hash browns.
Because you can get your hash browns like all different kinds of ways at Waffle House. I was not aware of that.
I got mine covered in spicy or something.
Yeah, they have nicknames for all of the things.
Yeah, covered was with cheese, right?
Yeah, delicious.
Smothered, I think, was onions, something like that.
Yeah, and then they have like they had a lot
mushrooms.
Of hey, wait a minute, where's my phone?
Yeah,
all different kinds of things.
Yeah, you can look at.
I took a picture and sent it to Buckles.
Oh, yeah, our buddy. Shout out to Buckles. I've been enjoying his new food meme page on Facebook. What was it called, Nate?
Meme page?
Oh, Food is Good and Other Things, I think.
And other stuff.
I'm looking that up now.
I don't know. There's been some funny memes on that one. I've been enjoying that. But yeah, what were we doing? Oh, you're looking for Waffle House.
Yeah.
All the different names for the hash browns.
Oh, yeah. They had a good-looking menu. I was pretty pleased, and it wasn't overwhelming with choices.
No.
Like when you go to some breakfast restaurants, and it's like 5 pages of different shit you can get, and then you just spend an hour looking at the menu.
Yeah, no, one menu front and back. One page for breakfast, and the other page for lunch and beyond.
All right, here we go. Hash browns, you can get a regular size for $2.40, a large for $2.90, or a triple for $3.20. Just so you know, that's a lot of hash browns. I'm thinking the triple is probably an entire fucking plate. But you can get them smothered. That's sautéed onions, covered, melted cheese, chunked, hickory smoked ham, diced grilled tomatoes, peppered jalapeno peppers, capped grilled mushrooms, topped birch chili, or country sausage gravy.
Now, I can get on board with the country, okay? I love me some good sausage gravy.
I wish I could have that.
See, I would have alternately liked to get them topped with the chili possibly. Like, that might have been good. Or just getting them straight up well done and then putting fucking ketchup on them like a criminal.
The well done was unreal. It was like
we got ours crispy.
Chips.
They were good.
They were so good. They were perfect.
Yeah, and those onions were stellar. My eggs were okay. I don't think I would get scrambled eggs from there again because they were just like a little under. Like I don't like runny scrambled eggs, and that's kind of how it was. They were just like soft scrambled. Next time I'll get them over medium. Did they get your eggs right, Sarah? You never get your eggs right.
They were on the runny side of over medium. The yolk was not.
How do we?
They were,
let's ask everybody out in the world. If you know the answer to this, please let me know. But how are you supposed to order eggs when you don't want them runny, but you don't want them hard boiled, and you don't want them fried?
You don't want them fried
because when they're fried, they get
they're
burnt.
over medium.
No. Because every time I've said I want over medium eggs,
The yolk's
they're
runny.
fucking runny.
Yeah. The yolk is runny, and that's over easy.
I know how to make good over medium eggs.
I do
Sara is the queen of making perfect over medium eggs.
Yeah.
Like, we know what over medium eggs are supposed to be like, and we don't get them at restaurants. Why?
Yeah, it's almost like soft boiled in a skillet.
The problem is that they're all making these eggs on a flat top, and they're cooking them at the same temperature, which means if you want a hard boil, like if you want a soft, over medium egg, you have to cook it low and slow.
Right.
But if they're cooking it on the same skillet that they're cooking a fried egg on, you can't cook it low and slow because you're going to get a fucking fried egg.
Yeah, or you're going to get an
It's the
over easy
heat problem.
Yeah.
Because they're just
Too
not
much heat.
cooking
They're
them in a
using too
separate
much
pan.
heat. Yep.
That would be the solution. Cook it in a separate pan and give me my eggs how I ask for them.
Motherfuckers.
Motherfuckers. Sorry.
The
I'm
over
a little
medium egg,
little
to
spicy
be fair,
today.
is the most difficult egg to execute.
Which one?
Over medium.
Yes.
It really is, because you can't tell other than by feel. Like, I just have made so many of them that I know when I tap the spatula just slightly on the yolk, when it's at the right amount of firmness, that when I take it off and it sits for a minute because it continues to cook a little bit, that it's going to be just the right thing. Like, it's all about you can't tell. Like, over easy is fine. You just, it looks done, I guess it's done. Like, over
Yeah,
easy
and
is
if it's too
practically
runny,
raw.
you can
But,
always
like,
just put a lid over it and cover it
Right.
and let the steam heat it.
they don't do that though. I
Right.
don't know why. They just the art of the over medium egg is something
It's
that
lost to them.
yeah,
To these
it's a rare day that
line
I get
cooks.
that they get it right at any restaurant I've been to. You know, fancy brunch places all the way down.
I used to hate having to make eggs when I was a cook, a line cook, because I was so busy making other things because I was the only person back there, the only cook during service. It's so dumb. Restaurants, why do you only hire one cook? That's so dumb. Anyway,
Cheap.
yeah, so I was working for this bar that was I was the sole chef for, essentially, when I was on my shift. So I had to do all of the takeaway orders as well as the dining room orders.
Yeah,
so
that
I'm
was
making
horrible.
hundreds of fucking beef sandwiches every night. And then some asshole would order a fucking fried egg burger or something. I'd be like, oh, now I have to get out my frying pan. I have to do all of these things. Like, in the midst of, being a line cook, I had to be like a chef. And it was a bummer.
Super
I'll never
bummer.
do that job again.
Yeah, places like that just throw things on a menu without thinking about the prep. And
Right.
thinking about what it's actually going to take to make a certain item at this time of night when these people are ordering this many. Like, if it's late,
Right,
you
because
need
I
a
can't
limited
cross-contaminate. Like, it's
Yeah.
stupid. Stupid shit. Need
That's dumb.
some
Ooh,
small
I'm
town
thinking
shit.
about that bar now, and I want fresh food.
I have a
I
question.
know, I need some fruit.
We have this fruit here we need to eat.
Do you want to try the fruit?
I do. We bought some new fruit today.
Let's do it.
We don't typically eat on the podcast because people have like chewing issues with sound and stuff.
We'll chew off the mic.
But we got some new interesting, what are they called? Sun Gold kiwis?
No, there's actually like a weird Z name.
Yeah, I brought the little tag here.
What's it say? Oh.
Here, you can read it.
Zespri. That's the brand, Nate.
Oh.
They're called Sun Gold kiwi fruits because they are yellow instead of green.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. Refreshing tropical sweet taste. Zespri kiwi is one of the most nutrient-dense fruits.
Great.
Yeah, shit.
We
I'll
need
try
nutrients.
it. One Sun Gold kiwi is the equivalent of 8 oranges, 2 watermelons, and 4.9 bananas.
Jesus.
Well.
In count of nutrients or some shit. I'll start.
Here, everybody take a kiwi.
Okay.
Train of our existence showing up on the podcast.
You want the fork?
I also want to say sorry that we're a little bit late on the podcast. We've been really busy. Things are crazy. And
Yeah.
we wanted to get this one up to you guys. So we're doing this day of, but it's going to be a good one, I think. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I'm about to enjoy this kiwi. Let's cheers, everyone. Toast. That's yummy. Mellow.
Ooh, it's so soft.
It doesn't have the same texture as a kiwi. It's good.
It's not
It has
as
like
rindy as a kiwi.
Oh, it's almost like an avocado.
It
It's
kind of
super
has
smooth.
Buttery. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a
not
banana. It's got like
Yeah.
almost a banana texture.
Gritty. Almost.
But it's not.
But
it's
it's
not
not
spongy
as
like a kiwi.
spon- yeah.
Yeah, kiwi are like that spongy thing. This is like, you know what? I hate to say it. It's almost
creamier.
like a cranberry, like when you get the jellied cranberries.
Yeah.
That's the texture.
Oh man, I think I
Yeah.
just found a new favorite
But
kiwi.
it's natural.
I don't know.
It's not jellied cranberry. But that's
It's natural
that's
ass
the texture.
kiwi, sun gold kiwi.
Ooh,
And it
man.
still has a little crunch from the seeds.
Yeah.
And it's got the
Yeah.
tartness of a kiwi, but it's not like making my mouth hurt.
No, it's not as acidic. And when I peeled it, the because kiwis are like hairy on the outside, and I was just peeling it like with a paring knife, around the edges. But the skin on this particular kiwi is not as hairy as a kiwi. Like because sometimes you'll be peeling kiwi and you get those little
brown
fibers all over
fibers.
you. Yeah, this you don't get any of that. The skin is thinner on this
Interesting.
kiwi.
That was
Yeah.
really good. I want
They're
like 10
very
more.
Good. Well, we have more. We have a whole little
Yeah, we have a whole
container of
box.
them.
Yeah.
So we definitely at Foodies Watching Movies suggest the Sun Gold Kiwi.
They have a little bit of a sour
We're
afterkick
such
too.
dorks.
Yeah,
Like-
it would be good in a chutney. Like
Ooh. Ooh, we need to serve it
Yeah,
on like a
pretty good.
cheese tray.
yeah, let's do that. We have our.
You need to go to Whole
crappy
Foods.
cheese that we bought.
We bought port wine cheese, like old
I love
ladies.
that stuff every once in a while.
I do
The
too, with
cheese
club
spread.
crackers.
Yeah, the
That
port
shit's my
wine.
jam, man.
It's the '90s way of feeling, fancy.
Fancy.
Yeah, just kind of like the what's the the ice cream thing. Oh my god.
Oh yeah,
What's it?
Viennetta.
Viennetta. Yeah.
Yeah, Breyer's Viennetta. Who remembers that? That was
talked-
my jam.
Yeah, we talked about that on the show before.
I'm sure
I
we've
think.
talked about it a lot.
Yeah.
I did love it.
Okay, anyways.
And they always served them in the commercials in little champagne glasses.
Yeah, you had a kind of a fancy candy bar that you had never had before.
Yeah, speaking of 90s shit, I've
90s
I've
shit.
never tried one of them before, but I decided it was a good idea because it was only 78 cents at Walmart.
We don't shop at Walmart City.
You haven't had this yet?
No, I had it yesterday.
You
Yeah,
did
she
have
had
one.
never
I
last
tried
time.
a piece of it because she opened one. A Score bar. Skor. Delicious milk chocolate, crisp butter toffee. And hot damn, was it ever. It was really buttery, really good.
Yeah, it's more like traditional toffee than like Heath Bar. Heath Bar is real crumbly, kind of like between toffee and what used to be Butterfinger. But yeah, Butterfinger.
I'm still finding the last of the Nestle Butterfingers at Speedway and Lowell.
Gotta
They've
get
got
while
them
you
2 for
can.
$2.22, and they
Don't
expire.
tell everybody.
Well, I'm letting everybody know in my town because I love them that they expire June of 2019.
Oh no.
Uh-huh.
guys,
Less
It's
than a week
happening.
left.
It's we
the
got the
last hurrah.
and there's 2 on the table for
We're gonna
you.
be eating expired Butterfingers for months.
Good.
Well, it's interesting though. I've seen some Butterfingers that we found in the wild that are still marked till August of 19.
Okay, good. Well, the
So
ones in my
there
town
I
are
know.
expiring this month.
But I think there are
Get 'em
some
while
at
they're hot.
Strax that are through 19 when we were there.
Okay.
I'm like, shh, don't tell anybody.
Oh.
Those ones are mine. No, I'm just kidding. Because those ones are only 99 cents.
But I'm talking about the Strax in Highland though.
Oh,
The Strax in Highland.
Yeah.
Highland, go there to Highland
Sure.
at the Strax.
Oh my god.
I have a question.
Answer.
Do you like Bisketti?
Oh my god. Okay, so I've been wanting to watch this show called
What's a movie?
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Movie and a show.
Okay, can I just tell the story, Nate?
Yes. Sorry.
I saw that there was this show on FX called What We Do Beneath the Shadows or something.
In the Shadows.
What We Do in the Shadows. And it looked hilarious, and I was like, oh, this is funny. So I was telling you about it a while ago, and you said, oh, this is actually a movie by blah, 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 the same guy who did Thor Ragnarok.
Taika Waititi.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, we need to watch it, and then we never did. And then Nate found it. Our buddy had it.
Yeah, he's like, here, have this. Take this.
And we finally watched it, and it was so fucking funny. Oh, my God.
Peter's not coming to the meeting. He's 8,000 years old.
He's not coming to the meeting. Okay, I don't know if anybody out there has seen What We Do in the Shadows, but I highly recommend watching it. It was pretty funny.
How would you guys explain this movie to a person who...
I got it.
Well,
If you don't got it, go ahead.
when did it come out? 2014?
I think it was 14, yeah.
2014. Okay, so this was like in the height of like people still watching reality TV and stuff like that.
And also the height of vampire movies.
Oh yeah, Twilight. You're not Twilight.
Yeah, I would say if like The Office was about vampires.
Yeah.
Okay.
These
like
flatmates are living together.
Yeah. But it's shot in that style. It'll be like a little like interview, like a one-on-one.
Yeah, they have the one-on-one.
It's got the documentary feel.
Yeah, the
it's reality TV for vampires.
Yeah, and then they'll be like at a dinner party having dinner, or they'll be having a meeting, or they'll something will
flat
be
meeting.
or
Peter's not coming to the meeting. He's 8,000 years old.
Yeah, and they talk. Yeah, one of them is like the main guy is like an English dandy. So he's like real happy all the time.
18th century dandy.
And that's Taika Waititi, the guy that wrote
there's
and
another
directed
guy
it.
that's like from medieval times, but he's real brutal, like doesn't care
Vlad
about
the
blood
Impaler.
everywhere. Yeah. But then like they'll meet other packs of like a pack of werewolves. They're all bros, with the alpha male. There's just funny interaction. It's really funny. Like it sounds stupid when you describe it because whatever.
It's like
really,
if you took
it's really
documentary now and made the focus vampires, but then like you're giving them kind of real problems, real life. But the whole point of the movie is they're going to go to the Unholy Masquerade, and it's like these documentary filmmakers have been granted access to be in the vampire.
They're
inner
following
circle.
them around. Yeah, this whole time that's leading up to this big masquerade ball.
Yeah, but it's super Monty Python in the way they address the cameras sometimes.
Yeah.
Like they're aware, but like, what are all these cameras doing here? Why are they here? We don't even know why you're here. That kind of stuff. Like, I rather.
It was super
I could
clever.
even say Mel Brooks too. It's got a little bit of that feeling in there to some degree.
There was a lot of physical gags in it that were funny.
That's what was making me think. Yeah.
Definitely
Mel
had
Brooks
a Dracula Dead and Loving It
vibe.
vibe.
Yeah.
Right, I'm Nick.
Yeah.
Nick.
My flatmate Stu.
It's my flatmate Stu. We're best buds.
It's set in New Zealand.
My best bro.
Also, which is very interesting. So everybody has like those accents.
Yeah, it was adorable.
It's
and even like the New Zealand police scene was hilarious.
Yeah, we're just gonna go up there.
We're just gonna check it out, make sure everything's all right.
Yeah.
Got a call, had a little screaming.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, I recommend What We Do in the Shadows, but it spawned a TV show that we are going to watch.
On FX, which we're going to be checking out.
Yeah.
Nick, do you like Bisketti?
That was the best part. They were trying to do a Lost Boys prank on somebody at a dinner party, and they're like, do you like Bisketti?
Poorly.
Bisketti.
Yeah.
Okay. But what you're really eating is worms.
And the
so
music
mean,
is hilarious. Like there's a scene, the way they set the tone at the beginning of the movie. There's it's not right at the beginning, but it's near the beginning of the movie where they're all like jamming on their old instruments. And they have like like the old like cello thing, and they've got like these horrible like it looks like handmade trumpets. Like they're horrible, and they all make this horrible just like this brassy like awful old school like tinny sound, like they're like a Tin Pan Alley band, but they're vampires, so they're trying to play spooky music on their instruments. But
I'm trying to do an erotic dance for my friends.
Yeah, and then they'll be like chasing victims or something through the house or whatever, and the horns will start in. It's just so perfect because they
feral.
Feral. That's a great.
It's very feral.
Yeah, so Deacon, if you're going to kill someone in the living room, could you just put down some newspaper?
Oh, that was another funny joke. He's the dandy's trying to like every time he murders somebody, but he always ends up biting the wrong vein and getting blood everywhere.
Yeah, shit! But then he's real happy about it anyways. He's just smiling. Like, he's the awkward smiler. That's the default.
Resting
character.
Google face as a smile, an awkward smile.
Yeah.
Like everything's okay, guys. Really.
Yeah. We don't want to give away the whole movie. We'll give
because I mean, there's so much that story has actually a pretty complex plot going on with how they do everything.
And it's very clever.
Rife with inside jokes, just like another movie that we love, Tucker and Dale.
Ooh, nice segue there. Get on your pony and ride. We are nearing a sequel. Here's what some of the stars, though, Tyler Labine and Alan Tudyk both have said. It's not going to be like a traditional sequel. So is it going to be anthology and Tucker and Dale are reset
on a new
in
adventure?
Their universe in a totally different setting, and that first situation is its universe, and this is a new. I mean,
kind of like Leprechaun versus Leprechaun in space.
Sure, yeah. I don't think I knew about that. Is that real?
Yeah,
that's real.
Leprechaun in the Hood. That's another one.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's just like different
there's
scenarios with Leprechaun.
I mean, there's like all the way up through Leprechaun 4 or 5 or something, 6. How many did they make?
I don't know.
I'll Google it.
I don't know.
They made a lot, but
too many. They've been remaking a lot of
those movies when I was a kid. Like, there's a few of them that are.
I'm the leprechaun.
Yeah, they're so stupid.
Yeah, that was stupid. That movie, the first one, scared me when I saw it when I was little. The one with Jen Aniston.
Yeah. There was one of them. I don't remember which one it was. We were watching it at a slumber party when I was a kid.
They were great slumber party movies.
The leprechaun gets in a high chair, like an old school with the wheels at the bottom, and like starts chasing after a car. And they speed up the film, and he's like,
yeah,
just going really, really fast, like the speed of the car, chasing him in a high chair.
Yeah.
And I was just looking at this as a kid, just like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. And it set the tone for a lot of things in my life.
That explains a lot. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know. I always love that. I love that campy shit. I don't know. It's just like so. I don't know. I don't want to get into a deeper discussion of horror movies.
So there's Leprechaun, Leprechaun 2,
okay,
Leprechaun 3.
Yeah.
Leprechaun 4 in space.
In space.
In space.
Okay.
Leprechaun in the Hood.
In the Hood. Yeah.
Leprechaun back to the Hood.
Back to the
Jesus Christ.
Leprechaun Origins.
Origins. We need to know.
And there's another Leprechaun
7?
that's just coming out.
There's another. Does he
Yeah.
get married? Is there going to be like a lady leprechaun?
Hold on, I'm trying to find it.
Wait,
I had it.
They made the Bride of Chucky.
My God, they're making another Child's Play movie, guys.
Really?
Yeah.
2018 Leprechaun Returns. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Leprechaun Origins and Leprechaun
Hey Nate,
Returns.
when is the new Child's Play movie coming out? It's out now.
It's out in theaters right now.
Just like that.
Aubrey Plaza playing the mom of the kid.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah.
Aubrey Plaza.
Yeah, I heard she does a fantastic job. Yeah, she was on Hot Ones.
Reason to see this.
Child's Play.
Yeah.
But I heard that it's creepy, and Mark Hamill does a great job as Chucky.
Mark Hamill is Stop it!
Oh no, I think Sarah needs to go to the movies.
I don't want. I'll watch that one after the fact. I'm gonna have to watch it now, though.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill is Chucky.
We'll watch it when it comes out on DVD.
I gotta
on
see
Blu-ray.
that.
Yeah, it's a spicy meatball.
How funny.
Oh, I didn't like a lot of the Chucky movies. Some of them were really like.
I loved.
Dude, Child's Play 3
Bride
was
of
fucking
Chucky.
dark. He replaces all the fucking paintball guns with real guns, so these kids in this academy start killing each other.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they were a little. I don't know, something. Maybe it's just because I was a kid and. You know, you have dolls and...
Yeah, the first Child's Play movie scared the shit out of me.
The first one was really...
Dude, the second one is the one where Chucky gets all the parts, like, stabbed into him, right? Child's Play 2 is where he ends, like, on the conveyor belt.
Yeah, that's two. Yeah, that was really... And even then, they're like, oh, he's still alive.
2 also had the scene where he slashes that lady's fucking Achilles heel as she's going down the basement stairs.
I think you're remembering I think you're remembering more about these movies than I ever will.
I don't want to remember about these movies.
I blocked them out.
Yeah,
that was from my youth, but I did like Bride of Chucky.
Well, that one was super campy.
I loved it.
Jennifer Tilly.
Loved Jennifer Tilly in that movie.
That was
so
even a horror
fucking
movie.
dumb. I
Like,
loved it.
That was a love story with dolls. That was like That was like if
and Rob Zombie
that played it with creepy goth dolls growing up, or like we didn't have those. So like if you cut your Barbie doll's hair and like dyed it with a Sharpie, you know, that kind of thing, and you had your goth Barbie prom, and that's what that movie was.
Mm-hmm, that's who that was for.
All the spooky kids, the spooky babies.
You know what's funny to me about you guys? I don't think horror movies affect you like normal. That they affect you differently. Yeah. But I think that real world weird situations affect you guys more. Like documentaries about crazy shit, I've seen you guys react to more than some horror movies.
Because it's real.
Because it's real.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's real.
Like Free Solo.
I can't believe you made me watch that movie.
I have vertigo.
Sarah was so mad.
Good. Tell me it was so good, though,
I was
right?
sitting there, like, there was points when literally I've never said this before, but my fucking jaw dropped. I was like, oh my God. You know?
Tighten your butt cheeks like, whoa.
Yeah, I tensed up a few times.
Yeah, I specifically remember the part with when he was on the rope. And he was. But by the way, you should say that what this movie's about before we start babbling about it.
Yeah, so let me preface real quick that Free Solo is a movie about this guy Alex who in 2015 or 2016 decided he was going to climb El Capitan, which is this rock face in Yosemite National Park that's over 3,000 feet tall.
The Cliffs of Insanity.
Essentially, the Cliffs of Insanity. But the thing is that he wanted to free solo it. You're like, what's free solo, Nate? That means that you are not using any ropes, any system to protect you. You climb it with no safety net.
Yeah, like it's a natural climb, like you're climbing a tree.
Exactly. And you go to the top, right? So this movie takes place over the course of a couple years. They're filming his attempts with ropes so he can really understand the mountain. He's doing
like
other
he had a
climbs.
plan. He
does.
had every little crack of that mountain memorized, and foot placement and hand movement.
Can I say something about that it was fascinating to me?
Sure.
That I didn't know. I mean, I had like in the back of my mind like, oh, they probably do this, but like I didn't quite understand that these climbers actually make maps of the rock face, like an actual map with different nodes and different names for things and different points on the map, just like you were traversing land, like traversing vertical land, and they make these maps of things, and
so you know where you're not going to die.
Yeah, and I was just fascinated by that because I thought, oh, of course they do, because rocks don't change. I mean, how long does it take for a rock face that, you know, and they're of course mapping rocks that are actually structurally part of the thing.
Right.
You know, they're not mapping rocks that, oh, you know, too many people walked on this rock and now it broke off, you know.
Right.
They're mapping parts that are not going to change for a really long time. And it's the grip strength that this guy had. Like, this was a part I was going to talk about that I visibly watched you tense up, because he had the ropes and he was going around this one corner, and all that you could do, there was like two paths that you could take. There was one of them that you could go
the boulder problem
around. Yeah, you could go around this corner that was like slick as like
glass. It's the Teflon corner.
Yeah, where he literally was taking just his thumb and like his two, like his middle finger and pointer finger, right? And on one hand, having to just grip with just that.
Putting his little thumb in a little spot.
The toe of his shoe on a notch in the rock that you could barely see. And no ropes. And this was how this man was going to do. And then had to jump from that.
Well, no. Well, he had... No. Let me explain. He talks about that. If you're doing the boulder problem instead of the Teflon corner, because the Teflon corner is like this essentially a corner. It's very slick. Yeah. It's glass. You have to like Ninja Warrior left to right it up, right? Mm-hmm. But the boulder problem you can solve it one of two ways. You can do the jump to a ledge, but jumping.
But you have to jump with both of your hands. You're completely off of.
And grip a ledge that's so tiny. I mean, it's an inch, right?
Yeah.
Or you can do the karate kick. The karate kick, though, requires you essentially to just throw your foot off the mountain and hope you get this ledge.
Now, and mind you, this is not even a sloping mountain. This is a vertical cliff.
Correct.
That this guy's climbing.
It's straight up.
Right.
This
is
straight up. This is not like a mountain. At least has slopes and valleys and resting places. This is a straight. What did they say? 3 hours and almost 4 hours. It was like 3 hours and 50 minutes or something that he finally climbed it at the end. Of solid climbing with no ropes. I mean,
yeah. And if he said that he did it because he wanted to feel perfect and have that one moment where he knew he was perfect.
Right.
Because if you're not perfect, you're dead.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, they go into the whole thing that this dude's brain is just not it doesn't process fear in his
At all.
amygdala.
It literally doesn't trigger.
Yeah, they did an MRI to see, and then they showed him what stimulates other people's amygdalas, their fear receptors, and his didn't go off at all, being shown the same images as the control groups. So he doesn't have fear receptors. That's why he's able to do this.
Right.
Because it doesn't scare him.
I'm going to talk about horror movies. That's a horror movie.
Psycho.
Yeah, that's exactly kind of why I said it.
It's a horror movie.
And he was kind of an a-hole, too.
I mean, it's because he's kind of...
It was the Asperger's thing.
Absolutely.
It was the, like...
He just doesn't connect with people the same.
No, there was no empathy there. There was no... Like, he did not understand why his friends would be upset that he was going on a mountain with no ropes.
Well, he kind of did it here and there. He was like, I just feel bad, like, I don't want to, be killed in front of my friends. I feel bad for my friends, but I'm still going to do it.
Yeah, that's not understanding what that means.
Right? I will say there was a line he said that made me crack up, and I maybe shouldn't have made me crack up, but he was talking about his girlfriend, and he's like, and I mean, if I perish, you're just going to move on. Like, just the fact that he used the word perish. He didn't say if I die. Mm-hmm. He said if I perish. Like,
man, his little girlfriend was something else, wasn't she?
Man, she fucking almost killed him.
Twice.
Yeah.
He fell off the mountain twice because of her.
Yep.
With ropes, obviously. But... hurt his back.
So much better.
Hurt his ankle.
Hurt his back and nearly broke his ankle. I mean, he tore a bunch of ligaments, sprained ankles, which... that's another
At that point, I'd
thing.
be like, honey, maybe you should just sit this one out.
He was 5 weeks off of that ankle injury and did Free Solo. Mm-hmm. 5 weeks. Typical, a sprained ankle like that takes 6 months to fully recover from.
Right. Well, it takes a really long time.
Yeah.
Truth be told.
Truthfully,
you'll feel it off and on, like, for
years, yeah.
And this was a Nat Geo documentary, so it was really high-quality imagery. The cinematography was incredible. The camera lenses they had. It won Best
Documentary for the Oscar. Continue, sorry.
And they actually had to have a team climb up with him to be filming it, but they were far... Yeah, the poor camera crews were just like... sweating bullets the whole time, waiting to watch their friend die.
That
and
one
hoping
dude,
to God it didn't happen.
Yep.
That one dude, he just is sitting there and he's just like, "Yep, this is gonna happen. Like, we're not coming back. Like, this is what we're gonna have to do."
He's like, "I'm never doing this again."
Yep. It's crazy though because he had climbed it so many times that it's not just that he had it written down and mapped out. He could tell you without even looking at his map. And he would even say, he's like, if I get past boulder problem, it's autopilot. I climb this mountain with no problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you can actually see, I mean, I'm not trying to spoil the movie, but obviously he doesn't die. Like, let's be real, we're not morose and gruesome. Like, like, it's very uplifting and very powerful what he does. But to witness it is just like...
It was a really, really intense movie.
Whoa.
I don't typically like watching movies like that, especially when it was showing him, going, basically, there's one position where he's climbing in this crack, and it was getting really claustrophobic feeling for me, and I don't like that. But it's just thinking about all of the pressure on his body, from this mountain, just crushing him as he's trying to climb. Ooh, it's just awful.
And he has to be crushed by it. And he even says that he's like, no matter what, when you're during the enduro, that's the part of enduro that you're talking about. Mm-hmm. You are being crushed by the mountain as you're holding on to the mountain to not fall.
Right.
You have to choose to be crushed in order to go up.
Mm-hmm.
That's intense.
Yeah, you make one wrong move and your life is over as you know it.
Now, here's something not related to that. Well, related to that movie, but not in that movie. That's recent. A 10-year-old girl just did the same thing he did, but with rope. Youngest person to ever climb El Capitan.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I have no interest in doing that. I was telling you guys, I went skydiving when I turned 18 with my stepdad, and I fell out of an airplane, and I free fell thousands and thousands and thousands of feet, and I was too scared to pull the parachute, so the other guy, it was a tandem jump, so I told him ahead of time, I was like, there's no fucking way I'm pulling the parachute cord. If we're gonna die, it's gonna be your fault, not mine. And he's like, okay, so I'll pull the cord. And then we did, but after a minute of, it was a full minute of free falling. And when you first fall out of an airplane, the air just gets punched out of your gut. You can't breathe because it's just and I couldn't breathe the whole time we were free falling until he pulled the parachute. And then it's so jarring, it like hurts you, you know, and you're just like, ah, shit. So I would never go skydiving again. I did it once. I'm so happy that I did it because it was a really interesting experience.
And you can say you've done it.
And I can say I did it, yeah. It was really cool to be able to say, like, I fell out of the sky and got to feel what it would feel like and didn't die. So that's cool. But I don't ever need to do anything like that again. I don't need to twist fate or tempt fate like that.
I don't need to do that ever.
Yeah.
In my lifetime.
I just feel
I'm
like
okay with that. I don't need to ever do that. I don't even like it on tall buildings.
it's like my existence itself is living dangerously enough. Like, I don't need to go and jump out of a plane and see how that goes, because knowing my luck, I would trip. Yeah, correct. That's what I'm saying. Like, I would trip out of the plane before.
How many Pepsis you have a day is becoming worrisome.
Yeah.
It's only one, actually, today.
Today's one.
I'm doing pretty good today. We finally have replaced our Thai food restaurant.
Oh, excellent news, everybody. Excellent news.
I mean,
our long gone Thai food void
has been filled.
Yeah, the void.
So it's interesting because you had said you wanted Thai food. We were going to pick up some Thai food, and I was like, "Man, didn't we see somewhere there was a new Thai place?" And you're like, "Yeah, but I can't remember. I'm not sure." So I used the Google machine because it's fucking 2019. Google machine tells me where it is. Spice Thai, it's in Maryville. We got it. It was like eating exotic Thai all over again. It like hit me. It was perfect.
It was so good, and they were super nice, and the place was really cute inside, and had like comic book art all over the walls. It was like the perfect little Thai restaurant for Nate.
Yeah.
It was like just for you.
It's a win. I can't wait to try their red curry. That's my next play. Yeah, next time we go, I'm getting the red curry. I've already made up my mind.
Yeah, that was good.
The crab rangoon was good. You didn't try a crab rangoon, though, did you?
Mm-mm. I just had mine.
The crab rangoon was interesting. They used, like, the wonton wrappers, but they were, like, egg roll wrappers, so they were a little bit thicker. Normally, I like the thinner, crispier ones, but it's still, the filling was, you could tell was homemade and was really good. I enjoyed it. I would recommend it.
Yeah, I'm stoked that we have a new Thai place. Can't wait to have it again.
I give it 4.5 out of 5 Podwin cents.
Oh.
Yeah, it was very good.
4 out of 5 crab rangoon.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to talk about, we always get House of Pizza here on the podcast.
Yeah,
it's
that's
kind
my
of
jam.
Has been a staple for many years. It's almost like a part of the Foodies Watching Movies bloodline. Is that
affiliate program? Is it?
You know? Yeah,
correct.
I mean, seriously, how many episodes have we had it while we've been doing the podcast or the
Plenty.
day of? Plenty. Too many to even count.
It is my favorite.
So we finally stepped outside of the box and tried something different off their menu.
It was time.
Yes.
It was finally time. I decided to get us, instead of getting the giant cheese pizza that I normally would get.
Thin crust.
I got the large double crust cheese pizza. And it was super good. It was totally worth the change. I'm very pleased.
Yeah, it was thick and juicy and delicious.
Ew, that just made it sound gross.
What?
Ew, you can't say juicy with pizza. Yuck, I just ruined it.
It was just like the cheese was just oozing.
Ew. Oh, you're just the worst today. Oh my god. Let me save this.
Okay.
Oh, fuck, that was nasty. Okay, don't ruin House of Pizza for me, Nate. It was very good. It was none of those awful words. It was luscious.
Sorry.
Soft and delicious.
Crispy.
The bottom was crispy. Yeah. The crust was nice.
Chewy.
It was a little chewy. I feel like it would have been better with toppings because it's a thicker pizza. We never get toppings on House of Pizza because of the crust issue. You know, I like it thin like that and thin and chewy, I suppose.
Yeah, they have like a range of crispy to chewy on that thin crust. It just depends.
Depends on who's making it. Depends on the day. Usually on the weekends it's pretty perfect.
But I prefer the thicker crust.
Well, I'm glad it worked out because, you know, after it sat out a little bit and wasn't super hot and melty, I was able to peel like a bottom layer of crunchy crust off.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Yeah, it was like I had 2 in 1. I had thin crust and thick crust pizza, all from the same pizza, so it was a perfect order. I would do it again.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
Yeah, I'd do it again. Next time I'd do it again with like mushrooms.
Ooh, that would be delicious.
Yeah.
So, Nate, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Would you buy the Pringles mystery Pringles again? Speaking of doing again.
You know what's weird? When they come out with what the flavor actually is, no. Because I didn't really like them that much. Like, they were kind of only okay. They weren't, like, spectacular.
Tell them what you bought first,
So,
I just kind of threw that in there.
No. I'm glad you asked me that question, because we were at Walgreens, and Walgreens is like, we've got the exclusive mystery Pringles flavor. And I'm like, holy shit, what is this thing? And it's, like, all interesting looking and whatnot. And I grab it. I'm like, I have to try this for foodies. Like, I have to know, right? I mean, I look at you guys, I'm like, seriously, like, duh. This is duh. And, of course, we got them. And it was like bacon cheddar burger or some sort of brisket with cheddar on it.
They haven't revealed.
But it's like, that's where my taste was. Sarah thought something different, though. What was your guess?
My guess was BLT sandwich. Because it has, like, this weird salty bacony thing. It has, like, a cheesy thing. And it has, like, a grassy kind of a thing.
Definitely a BLT thing.
Which made me think of BLT.
I didn't try them. I hate Pringles. I'm gonna say it.
You'll hate it.
Not even ashamed. I don't like
even
Pringles.
offer it to you.
No, you didn't.
I knew better.
She knows better. I do not like Pringles at all. Ollie likes Pringles. He likes the sour cream and onion Pringles.
Oh, yeah, that's classic.
Those were a slumber party staple.
They were always at the slumber parties, and I always got so mad because I hated them.
Those ones and the pizza Pringles. Those were,
Ooh, pizza Pringles are
ones.
Hey, do you guys remember in the 90s there was chips that were pizzerias? They were called pizzerias, and they tasted like Doritos, but
they were
with oregano.
Yeah,
like
I
pizza
remember
chips.
those.
They were my fucking favorite.
They were like
chips. Those were the best chips. They were tortilla chips,
but they weren't like corn chips.
They had like pizza seasoning on them.
Yeah, with pizza seasoning.
Yeah, they were called pizzerias.
Yeah, I remember those.
I want them.
They don't exist anymore, probably.
Maybe on eBay.
They'd be super old and
like
stale
30
as fuck.
years old, but I'd eat it just for memories purposes.
Sure.
Or at least I just open the bag and smell it and be like, oh.
Yeah, that was a 90s thing.
They were my favorite.
You know, I also got a different kind of Pringles when I got the mystery Pringles. I got extreme dill pickle.
They were extreme.
They are extreme. They're
Extremely
really good.
briny.
They're good with grilled cheese, though.
Yeah,
it's like having a grilled cheese sandwich without the actual pickle, and then you put
I
the
like
chip
the
on
Lay's
it.
dill pickle chips with grilled cheeses.
But the extreme.
I love pickles on my grilled cheese.
Yeah.
I love tomato and pickle on my grilled cheese.
I make the best grilled cheese.
They were good grilled cheeses that day.
They're always good. I have a system.
They're good.
Flawless.
I don't know. I like my grilled cheeses better.
Ollie likes mine better.
Yeah, well, that's okay. I never make grilled cheeses for Ollie because he never wants them. Because
I make better grilled cheese.
Not because he make better grilled cheese. Like, I've literally only made Oliver grilled cheese probably once in the past, 3 years. And he ate it. But he never wants it. He never asks for it. That was, my favorite thing when I was little was anything with cheese. Grilled cheese, mac and cheese pizza.
I knew that I had made a home run grilled cheese when Ollie took a bite and then called for your mom to come have a bite of his grilled cheese.
Did he?
And she did too. And she was she was actually jamming it.
Yeah.
I just, I cook with a lot of butter.
Yeah, you cook with a lot of butter.
Not too much though.
I've been putting the cheese on the outside of the bread as well as on the inside of the bread, like shredded cheese.
Yeah, Ollie getting mad at me for doing that.
Yeah, Ollie didn't like that.
But I did it the same the first time I made it for him, and he had no idea. It's just because I showed him that I did that.
Right. He's super picky, just like I was. like mother, like child, I guess.
True that.
Kids are weird, though. If they see you doing something, it's different.
Yeah,
just,
exactly.
If you just present it to them, they won't question it. Yeah. They'll be like, oh, okay, whatever. But if you explain to them, they're like, oh, fuck that. I don't want that.
Right.
No, I don't like that. No way.
No, of course I don't like that.
No, I don't like butter. I don't like cheese.
And it wouldn't
you
have
do.
Been
You eat butter and cheese together every day in different combinations.
Yeah.
No, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Kid stuff.
Speaking of kid stuff, didn't you watch a couple movies with Ollie recently?
I did, yeah. Our new summer schedule is different. My ex-husband gets him for a week in the summer, and then I get him the following week. And then we just switch off. So we have him each for, the same amount of time during the summer. It's supposed to be equal and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's been really hard for me. I don't like being away from my kid that long. But on the other hand, it has been nice being able to have him on the weekends, you know, here and there, because usually he's at his dad's on the weekends. So now I have more time to spend doing things with him. And we went to, our family video closed last year. That was like me and his favorite thing to do, was go get gumballs at the video store and rent a game, or like pick out a movie just to have on or whatever. And we decided to go to the Red Box at the grocery store, because that's like our only option now.
Red Box down by the Dollar General.
So I let him pick out a movie. He picked out Batman versus Ninja Turtles.
Fuck yeah,
which
he
I was
did.
like, how is this even a thing? Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And it was so good. We both really liked it. Like, the first 5 minutes, I was like, oh, this is going to be fucking terrible. The animation sucks. And then after, like, 20 minutes, I was so into it. I was like, yeah, Donnie's fighting Batman. It was great. You know, we've been watching a lot of Teen Titans Go, so he was excited when he's super into it. And he really liked it. It was a good movie. I recommend it. Slightly dark, like... I probably, had I known what this movie, I just thought it was Ninja Turtles and Batman, but it was a little dark. There was some blood in it and actual, like, murders and stuff.
The tone got a little dark, and you're like, shit.
The tone was a little dark. It would have been okay if maybe he was, like, 8.
Fair.
But he doesn't care. He's totally desensitized to stuff like that, because apparently he watches all sorts of nefarious things at his dad's house, like shark movies and monster movies, and... But that's neither here nor there. I figured he could handle Batman and Ninja Turtles, and he did. He liked it. The other movie we watched was the new Mary Poppins movie that came out last year.
Mary Poppins Returns?
Yeah, with Emily Blunt. I was terribly disappointed. It just made me want to watch Julie Andrews on loop.
So it was hot garbage.
No, it just wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't for me. It was for this generation.
Yondu makes
children.
a very Mary Poppins anyways.
Yeah.
I'm Mary Poppins, yo!
Yeah, he was a better Mary Poppins. Well, Emily Blunt did her best. I thought that she played a good Mary Poppins. I really like her. I think she's she had the right energy to it, I guess, but it was very 2019. And it was like they made the exact same movie, just with the children from the first movie were the main characters of this movie, and this time they were the adults and the parents and the banker and I don't know. It was like the same story, trying to save the father, the children trying to save the father. The same as the first movie. It's like
they just recycled it and updated it.
It would have been cool to have them in a totally different adventure with different family, because then it would be more like it wouldn't be taking away from
the original story.
My memories of it, I guess.
Right, because
they didn't even utilize the score, man.
Yeah, and Mary Poppins went off to do other things.
Right, she went off on other adventures.
Yeah, they needed her.
And this movie takes place 25 years later, whatever. Michael, the little boy from the first movie, is a grown-up he's a widower with 3 children, and the same lady helping in the house, Ellen, their cook or whatever. And it was just, I hate when I realized that Mary Poppins came out in the 60s, and that they would have to recast characters like Admiral Boom and Ellen and all of these people, but I didn't want that. I didn't want that at all. I will say Dick Van Dyke made a nice little cameo at the end as his one of the characters from the first movie, the old banker.
Yeah, using the original characters as cameos would have been much much better.
Right.
Like that. Yeah, I'm just thinking about I haven't seen this, but yeah, if I was to, have another story in that vein, they never explain what the deal is with Mary Poppins, do they?
No, she's just magic.
She's just magic.
She comes when you need her.
Yeah, so maybe she's they could have imagined her as a race, maybe there's other
nannies.
Other nannies, or other people that have this specific
to the Poppins mobile
caretaking power.
Well, they explained her disappearance off as she just went off to go do other things, and then they explain it as the magic just wears off the next day. Yeah, they won't remember any of those things. They'll just think it was their imagination. All of the things that happened to the children, they really did jump into a chalk pavement picture, and whatever, all those things. They just said remember all those things we used to imagine about her? And it's like, ugh. And then, at the end of the movie, they're like, oh, it was all real. Oh, everything's magic.
Right.
I don't ever need to see it again. I'll stick with the original.
Womp,
That's all I want to
womp,
say about that.
womp. So let's close with some food for thought, Sarah. There's a movie that you don't talk about a lot of movies when they're in theaters, but there's a movie you've been like, we need to go see this movie in theaters while it's out in theaters. We need to go see this movie ASAP. The Dead Don't Die, featuring Bill Murray, Adam Driver.
Yeah, because I like both of them.
Yeah.
I like a zombie movie, and I'm hoping that it's good. I don't know if it's good or not. I'm sure I could look on the internet and see if it's gotten any good reviews, but sometimes movies that get really bad reviews, I actually like. So I don't go by reviews. I just
I don't
go by
either.
the things that
Like
I
that one time that
it
somebody
seems
told us.
promising.
Like that one time someone told us Repo was a terrible movie because it got like 2.2 stars on whatever, and then someone really ended up liking it. Remember, you like it? Repo, the genetic opera.
Yeah, I thought it was all right.
Yeah.
Do you know
But it got really low scores, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I could see why it got really low scores.
Well, I mean, Paris Hilton was in it. Everybody
Which was not a great movie.
That was a thing.
We put it on the other day, and we're like, no, it doesn't really hold up, does it?
It was, it's interesting, because I remember really liking it when it,
Maybe it's just because it was like a time and place thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was, it's so silly. That movie's so silly, I'm just thinking about it now. Grave robbing.
And parts that are loaned to people.
And then they had like legit opera singers.
Yeah,
in that
Sarah
movie.
Brightman.
And what's the guy that was the old guy, the banker guy? I can't remember his name now. I think he was an opera singer too.
Oh,
the
yeah.
older guy that had the
father.
Yeah, the father. I can't remember his name now.
Google that shit.
But yeah. Anyways, he I forgot what I was gonna say. Sorry, I got.
It's okay.
Yeah, we were just talking about Repo.
Oh, Repo. That's right. We were talking about that. Do you know who worked on the score for that? That's what I was gonna say earlier.
Who dat?
The guy, TSOL's keyboard player.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, I believe that was his breakthrough into film, or into doing film work. I think that, I'm
Is that what he's doing now?
Yeah, he does film scores now. Well, back and forth. I think he still plays for TSOL every now and again. Obviously, he didn't play for them when we saw them, but
right.
That
would have been cool,
maybe
though.
when they do more local shows for him, he plays with them still. I don't know, but yeah, he does like film scoring and works on movie music and stuff now. Dabbles in a lot of things, I guess. He's just been in Hollywood a while. When you do a lot of different things, you end up being a jack of all trades out there.
Right, right.
Lots of hands in a lot of different places, but but yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where he got his start into doing movie stuff.
Repo, the genetic opera.
Yeah.
Is it still on Netflix?
Yeah, I think his name is Greg Kuhn. His last name starts with a K. Like Keuh. I don't remember.
I think Repo might be on Hulu now. Or it's on one of the two. It's either on Hulu or Netflix. It might be on Netflix. I just can't remember.
Yeah, it does feel very much like a product of its time, though.
Yeah.
I watch it almost like Queen of the Damned.
That really is a product of its time.
Yeah.
Holy shit. That's a new metal project of its time.
Oh, yes, it is. That's yikes.
We've talked about that.
Yes, we have. It just struck a chord there for a minute.
Were there any other movies that we wanted to see that are out? I know I wanted to see that Elton John movie.
Rocket Man, yeah.
That one's been getting good reviews, right?
Lots of people saying Rocket Man is phenomenal. It's a really good take, and that maybe it was a little extreme, but Elton John says it's dead on, and that's his story, and he had a hand in producing it and making it what it is. So.
Well, who knows if it's the real story or not. It's what he wants his story to be then.
You're right.
And that's fine. Whatever. I'll take that version of it.
But,
I like glitz and glam.
Next time we have a podcast, the new Spider-Man will have come out, and I'm excited for that. The closing of, it's crazy. The runtime for Spider-Man Far From Home is 129 minutes. That time added up with all the previous movies' run times. Do you know what the total is?
No.
3,000 minutes. Marvel loves you. 3,000. Isn't that crazy? like all the first saga of movies is 3,000 minutes exactly.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Huh.
How much planning actually went into that?
None.
None.
They just came but that's how it's
They're not gonna stop making movies.
But this is the end of the first saga, is what I'm saying. This is literally Spider-Man: Far From Home is the epilogue of.
Maybe one of the editors noticed it and was like, "Oh, let's just
tack
add
on 3 extra minutes.
One more minute.
Take away 2 minutes."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, possible.
Who knows?
It is possible that way, but
I don't know. That seems like film movie lore, something.
Interesting coincidence.
Yeah, it really is. But I think that's going to do it for this week's episode of Foodies Watching Movies, folks. You guys can check us out every other Wednesday right here on the Journey into Comics Network at journeyintocomics.com. Get us on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher Radio, Google Play Music, Spotify, CastBox, TuneIn, and many others. Just search Journey into Comics Network. Subscribe on iTunes. Oh, I just did that. I'm on a loop. It happens sometimes. But also get us on Patreon, patreon.com/Journey into Comics. Give us $1 for early access and or exclusive content, just depending on what we're feeling like putting out for you guys. Next episode's episode 21. We're getting ready to gear up for the 90s bracket. We're going to be doing that.
Is it time already?
It's already. We're almost to the season finale of season 3 of Foodies. We're only 3 or 4 episodes out here.
Damn.
Next week, I think we're probably going to have the Pours over this weekend to record episode 21, because then they're going to be going on their honeymoon. And we'll be away for a little bit. So we're going to give them a nice little vacay, and we're going to
sweet, nice
kick ass and takes names. So I think that's going to do it for this week's episode of Foodies Watching Movies, season 3, episode 20. Do you like Bisketti? I have been your host, Nate.
I'm Veronica.
Sara.
And as always, have a great one and eat fearless. Later, everyone.